$1,200 credit on any new lease and no payments until December 2020. Plus, you save hundreds with no upfront taxes. Auto by Rent, the smart choice.
We are heading into cold and flu season in the midst of the COVID pandemic, so it's a perfect time for us to have Ed Jones and Cady Kuhlman on the show from Nutrition World. Good to see you both.
Good morning.
You're looking very well.
Thank you.
Following your own protocol, I guess, right?
About 23 out of 24 hours, I do really well.
So you are going to break this down for us this morning into 3 compartments, because you say you can't have a healthy life if you don't follow 3 things.
Well, if you want to have the best energy and the best sense of well-being, you have to embrace something. And I've been watching people's health for 42 years at Nutrition World. They share so much with me, and I've got to see more than most people would ever dream of as far as what makes people healthy. And I know what makes them unhealthy. Well, there's 3 categories that I want to talk about, and with Cady today: sleep, your foods, and the core supplements that you have to do to be optimally healthy. So Cady will tell about sleep first, and then I will explain what some of the options are.
Okay. So I think the majority of us probably know that when we sleep, that's when our body is cleaning up our system, right? So that's when it's detoxifying, the liver's regenerating, the kidneys. It's activating our parasympathetic nervous system, which is helping our stress levels, our depression. So when we lack in sleep, it is detrimental to our health. Okay. And we know those things, but a lot of times we don't do anything about it.
Because we see it as a sign of weakness, I think, almost. I can survive on 4 hours of sleep, I'm fine.
Right. Yeah, it's almost like I can be a superhero. I can do this. But really, like we were discussing on the way down, the number one commonality between people that have heart attacks is lack of sleep.
Really?
Lack of sleep is detrimental to your heart health and your cardiovascular system. What we hear most often in our store is that people have trouble with waking up in the middle of the night. It's not so much with going to sleep. They can go to sleep, but at that 2 or 3 in the morning, they're awakening.
And that's what happens to me, and that's I've been a chronic insomniac. So I've come up with a game plan. First off, on nutritionw.com, I wrote an ebook, and that actually is also in print that we give out at Nutrition World about No More Restless Nights. There isn't a magic bullet, and I want everyone to understand lack of sleep is not an Ambien deficiency. Those drugs can be very harmful to your memory and other things. So I want people to figure out, how do we fix this without these drugs? And we have to create a new rhythm of sleep. And I want to talk only real quickly, GABA is my savior. This is what I take in the middle of the night when I wake up and want this brain to slow down, and it doesn't make you groggy. And the second is, I know it's weird, I started taping my mouth shut about 5 years ago. It's the greatest thing on earth for deeper sleep. You tape your mouth shut so you don't mouth breathe. And then, of course, secondly, we have to talk about the foods. And Cady can explain why carbohydrates are the demon and drug of choice today.
Okay, but I have a question before you do. First of all, on the GABA, do you take that at night before you go to bed, or when you wake up?
It only lasts 3 hours. You have to do it when you wake up. Put 2 pills next to your bed, a cup of water. You cannot go in the kitchen, turn lights on, or you're doomed. You have to have them ready. If you're being treated medically for something, ask the doctor, but GABA is extremely safe.
Okay.
Extremely.
And with the tape, is that because that will prevent you from having more sleep apnea issues and that
It prevents you from mouth breathing. Mouth breathing is devastating to deep sleep. Devastating.
Okay.
So,
I'll have to hide this from my husband. He'll try to tape my mouth up during the day. Okay, the food part of it.
Sure. So as he was mentioning, carbohydrates are a really dirty burning fuel source. So if we think about the average American consumes between 200 and 300 carbohydrates a day, that's a lot. That's a lot. They actually call, our U.S. diet the SAD diet, the standard American diet, but it's funny that it said SAD because it's so full of these carbohydrates. Carbohydrates create a really imbalance in the blood sugar, a really imbalance in the metabolism, and they're dirty burning. So what does that mean? The brain does not feel as good consuming carbohydrates. So what we have found in all of our years of study on this is most breakfast items like pancakes, any kind of smoothies, any kind of fruit juices, oatmeals, all of these things are all carbohydrate based, and that's where people are waking up and they're starting their day with carbohydrates. The kids start with Pop-Tarts and Fruit Loops, and the parents go through the McDonald's drive-thru and get more carbs. And so we have found the best way to avoid those but to still have a good game plan is to have a breakfast drink in the morning time. This includes a healthy protein, healthy fiber, and then we do mix green nutrients, so the green superfood idea, because we all lack in getting enough vegetables.
Okay.
This is the start for our day that's going to start balancing that chemistry of the body.
Are you saying that you buy these 3 products and you mix them together into one drink, or you're having 3 separate
Yes,
drinks?
mix them together into one drink.
Okay.
I've been doing this for almost 4 years. I did a birthday celebration 2 months ago. For my 63rd birthday, I did 63 push-ups in a row. And what we did was I talked about this drink, because me doing this, which this drink is special because there's no carbs, it's high protein, high healthy fat. If you start the day right, you've got room to make errors in the day. You start it wrong, you're doomed. You start with cereal and bagel and pastas and any of those, you're doomed.
Isn't this the one that you said, though, in all fairness, it does not taste good?
No, this actually tastes really good.
Oh, okay.
The greens is the only thing that might give it a little tint of not good taste, and you can always leave that out if you want. But the drink is the kind you need, Metagenics and the hemp fiber and the greens.
And do you mix it with water, milk?
I mix it cold water because you do not want more carbs. Once you start carbs, you crave carbs. Carbs are addictive. The
They
more
are.
you eat, the more you want.
Okay.
I do unsweetened coconut milk, I will
Yes.
say. So
Okay.
that's an option.
And you do 8 ounces?
Yes.
I do.
Okay.
In a blender.
Okay, I'll hush. Now, how about the supplements? Because a lot of people say, well, if I'm eating a healthy diet, why do I need supplements?
Sure. So sadly, the lack of nutrients in our soil, the over farming, how quickly we pick things and they're not quite ripened to the fullness yet. And I've said on here before, and I'll say it again, our grandmother could eat an orange, or our great-grandmothers, we have to eat 9 oranges to equal what that grandparent would have gotten in terms of vitamin C from that orange. None of us are going to eat 9 oranges a day. So we have to supplement to fill those gaps in. Of course, the diet's number 1, but then we fill in with the supplementation. So
Okay.
Ed came up with the idea of the core 4, which is like the 4 nutrients that we're really lacking in. It's a really good multivitamin. It is, which this actually has it all kind of in one pack. That's why we brought it. So it's a really good multivitamin, a great probiotic, a great fish oil, and vitamin D. So this is actually all in one pack together, but we also customize that for people as well.
When you begin to take those, however, in whatever variety you do, what will you notice in your feeling?
Well, first off, if you go to nutritionw.com, type in Core 4, you can read and see videos on this. What you'll notice at first may be nothing for 2 weeks, but then after that, you're going to start feeling better, more energy. What you really would be amazed about is if I took your blood work, which we do at the store once a month, last Friday of each month, took it this next Friday, you haven't taken any of these things, you do this for 8 weeks, you come back, you will not believe the difference in markers for aging, inflammation, the things that will make us old before our time. So blood work's going to determine your future. It's the crystal ball.
Okay, I don't want to jump into an arena where I really shouldn't go, but a frequent conversation I've had, I bet you've had too, is in talking about people who we know who've had COVID, and which we did in my family, but you find out that they had other conditions that they did not know about. And I think it's made a lot of us feel like we're walking around with these unhealthy parts of our lives that we didn't know even existed.
It is one of the gifts of COVID because it's brought to the surface that we need to be sturdy, we need to be resilient. How do we do that? Exercise, sleep, nutrition, nutritional supplements. And we know, and I preach this constantly, vitamin D being low is the #1 risk factor for severe symptoms of this virus and others, but especially this one. That's why we give away free vitamin D to school teachers and to healthcare workers in this town. Free, because I know it saves lives. It's on every sign I put out there. Vitamin D saves lives. Guess how much the media is talking about it? None.
How much did you take a day? 10,000 milligrams?
5,000 to 10,000 is the average dose. Again, you're being medically treated, ask your doctor, but 5 to 10 is normally enough. But
Okay.
it does need to be blood tested if you really want to know. I have to do
Okay.
14,000 units a day to be minimum.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Okay.
So
Okay, so blood work the last Friday of every month.
The 4th Friday
The
of every
fourth
month.
Friday of
Yeah.
every month. Okay. Always they have these items at the front of the store so that if you've been taking notes but you can't quite remember what you heard that you wanted to find out about, the staff knows. Are you still limiting how many people come in at a time?
no, we would if we had too many, but we
Okay.
have a very consistent flow all day long. It's
Okay.
very good, and we're all wearing the mask. We're all doing exactly the right thing.
Nutrition World, nutritionw.com is the website right there on Lee Highway. Thank you so much for the
Thank you.
education.
Thank you.
We're back after this.
Seems like CBD stores are popping up on every corner. Make sure you choose a knowledgeable vendor you can trust, like the Hemp House. Choose from products that